So, what will you do if you find out that your father, who is a pastor, is knacking your boyfriend? Not your girlfriend, oh, your boyfriend. It means you are the lady and your father is knacking your boyfriend. Things are happening. You never know it until you are told. Now, this is the story of Priscilla. Now, Priscilla is a 25-year-old lady who stays with the parents, the mother, the father. In fact, the father is one of the leading pastors in the country, well known. And Priscilla has a policy. When she was in school, her policy was that no knocking before marriage. So even the boyfriend back in school, was wondering why she was keeping to such strict policy, no knocking before marriage. And anytime he makes that attempt to knock, Priscilla wouldn't give him the opportunity at all. So they broke up. One day, Priscilla's father, who is the pastor, came to her and introduced this guy called Charles, their organist in the church, to her. And the father told her that, look, I would like you to start dating this organist, who is called Charles. But Priscilla was reluctant. He told the father that she would think about it. But, she didn't really think much, or the time really didn't go much into it before the father came back. In fact, as a matter of fact, the father was putting pressure on her to start dating this organist in the church. And one of the reasons that the father gave was that, these instrumentalists are hard to find these days. So if you can get one who is part of the family, it will be okay. So based on this explanation that the father gave, Priscilla gave it a thought and decided to go into a relationship with this guy called Charles. Actually, Charles was like a family friend. She has been coming to the house, eating in the house. He does everything. He's always around, very close to the pastor, because he's a keyboardist and they are hard to find. So when the father also told Priscilla that he wasn't really bothered much, because this is not somebody who is not known to the family. He is already known, except that she doesn't have any feeling or liking for him, if not for the father who was insisting. So Priscilla agreed, and then he told Charles her principle, which is no knocking before marriage. But Charles also came up with his own principle to say, or plea to put it. He said, fine, if no knocking before marriage, I accept it, but at least you should allow me to kiss you, or we should cuddle and kiss sometimes. And Priscilla said, okay, fine, no problem. If that will not lead to knocking, then fine, I can accept that. So one day, Priscilla's elder brother, who was studying outside the country, was about to graduate. And so the family must go to, support or witness his graduation. It's outside the country. But the father and Priscilla couldn't go because Priscilla herself had some examination to do. And so Priscilla's mother and the other siblings, they left, which means that Priscilla and the father were the only people who were left in the house, and their gate man. And so one day, Charles came to the house, and Priscilla and Charles were in her room, and they were kissing, passionately. And the father, who is a pastor, chanced on them. In fact, the father was annoyed and queried Priscilla, why is Charles kissing her in the house like that? Why has she allowed Charles to come and do that to her in her house? She doesn't like that at all. And so he locked or shut Priscilla in the room. prevented her from going out, and then asked Charles to go home. And in fact, the pastor himself drove Charles to his house. Went and dropped Charles. And when he came back, he sat Priscilla down and spoke to her that, you are a pastor's daughter. You need to behave very well. You shouldn't do things that will create problem in the church or for the family, because they are a pastor's family, so nothing bad should be done. Priscilla took it well, the advice that the father has given, and she apologized for doing that and promised not to do that with Charles again. But one day, Charles came back to the house again. Charles has been coming to the house. I mean, it's not anything new. So the moment Charles came back to the house, the father came. Priscilla was sitting with Charles. The father came and sent Priscilla to go and buy something. So Priscilla left, sat in a car. That day, the gate man wasn't at post. So it means that she must close the gates before she leaves. So when she drove the car out, she parked outside, and she remembered that, look, she must tell the father that the gate man is not there. So you need to close the gates before going. They need to know. So she went back inside, and then she had a call and stayed on the phone for about 10 minutes before finally entering into the room. When he entered into the building, the hall where she was sitting with Charles, Charles wasn't there. She went to her bedroom to find out whether Charles was there, but Charles wasn't there. Where is Charles? He went to the father's bedroom too. The father wasn't in the bedroom. Then she remembered that sometimes when Charles come around, because she plays the keyboard, I think they have a keyboard in the house too, they sometimes do live worship in the father's office in the house. The father has an office in the house. So with this remembrance, she decided, okay, let me go to my father's office to find out whether Charles and my father are there, maybe singing or praying or worshiping or whatever. And when she got there, she didn't hear anything, but she opened the door and entered, and lo and behold, the father, who is a pastor, and Charles were knocking. Seriously. In fact, Priscilla was so shocked that he shouted, "Dad!" And so when they also saw her, they were also shocked and surprised, like they were not expecting her to be around, because the dad had sent her. So it was a very good time. By the time that she would come back from the errand, they were done. But there she was standing, looking at them. In fact, Priscilla started shaking, because according to her, she has never seen anything like that before. Her policy was no sex before marriage. So she has not even seen the nakedness of a man before, let alone her own father and a boyfriend, supposed boyfriend. She was so shocked and disgusted, and she ran out of the house, sat in the car, and went and sat somewhere first to cool her head off. When she went, the father started calling. Charles started calling to explain things. She didn't pick any of their calls. Now Charles started using she blocked Charles, and Charles started using a different number to call, apologizing, wanting to explain everything, asking her to help her, to come back to God and the rest. But Priscilla is devastated, because she wasn't expecting anything like that. If not man and woman, she never expect to see anything like that between two men. At least a man and a woman, but two men. She was devastated. Now the mother came back. She decided not to go back to the house, so she went to stay with some friends. The mother came back from the graduation, and the mother was told that she has left the house. They didn't tell the mother exactly what has happened. And so the mother too has been calling to find out, but she wasn't ready to tell the mother the details of why she left the house, and she wasn't also ready to return to the house. How can lust, God have mercy upon all of us, but lust will drive you, who is a pastor, to do such a thing? It turned out that Charles has some female hormones in him, so sometimes he behaved like, behave like a lady, a girl, even though sometimes, and I don't know, that is what attracted this pastor so much that he started having an affair with Charles. And because of that, he wanted Charles to be around him all the time. I don't know what this is, but it's a very, very bad situation. Very shocking and very bad. Please subscribe to our channel. And if you like this video, leave your comments in the comment section below. And subscribe to Things Are Happening for more videos like this. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.